Matters of the heart. So, this is the extended version from the snippet that I posted. But I believe that the best way to kind of address everything in a nutshell is kind of to go through it where it's in bite-sized pieces and there's a resolve that comes in the process. So for this one, since it had an element of betrayal and disappointment, there are ways to navigate it in such a way that at the end there's a sense of resolve and wholeness. And I believe that the first part of it is really about the stages. So I think when something happens, it's the initial shock. And part of that shock is the acknowledgement and realizing that whatever feeling, emotion, or effect is actually there, because I know being who I am, I used to give myself permission to continue with the pain. It's just like I used to say, life doesn't stop because something happens. By all means, you can stop life and address something. But I gave myself this pass, so to say, because I was a leader, that I'm just going to continue forward because I still got to pay bills. I still got to lead a team. I still got to do this. But in the midst of that, there was an element where I had to give myself permission to sit in that thing. I had to sit in the emotion. I had to sit in the pain. I had to sit in the sadness. I had to sit in the betrayal, the shock, the disconnect. I had to sit in that thing to the point of feeling it, acknowledging it, and giving myself the space and grace to navigate back to a whole, restored, recuperated place. So I believe that the stages that I went through, this is not anything that that I've learned from like some type of book or something like that, but more so something that I've put in place in my own life. Excuse me. So part of that is the story of when I did feel betrayed by someone that was really close. I mean, extremely close to me, and dear, and someone that I thought was for me and on my side. You understand? There's something about having a team, a camaraderie, a community, and you rocking with them, and then someone in that core set violates trust, violates a sense of security that you have with them. So when this particular incident happened, I thought I handled it like, oh, okay, it's a part of life. People are people. They're going to do what they do. That was my perspective until the very next morning I woke up. Now, before I say this part, I'm typically a very balanced, jolly, happy, joyful, content person. Like on a daily basis, there's something about this thing called life that brings me immense joy. And so it plays out within my life with my actions, whether it's a smile, a chuckle, a joke, silliness, whatever it is. But after this incident happened, that very next morning, when I, started my day, I woke up sad. That was my first indication that I was hit harder than I knew I was hit. Like I was taken at the game and didn't know it. And I was like, wow, this is a pickle. So now that I'm in this pickle, so now I have to zoom in on this thing because I don't want to act as if it's not there. I want to acknowledge it and I want it to run its course. So I got up and I said, wow, this hit me. In the midst of recognizing that it hit me, I shed tears because I wasn't being this strong person that could plow through it. I was being a vulnerable woman who went through something that affected, that hit the emotion, that hit the trust factor, that shook a foundation, you know? So when I went through that and I accepted and I acknowledged it in this particular situation, I was able to navigate it by shifting to a place of comfort. So my stages started with um, thinking I did handle it correctly. Like, oh, okay, it's something that happened. It's the nature of people, given the people pass. That's what I call it. Then I realized that it hit harder when it trickled into my daily life the very next morning. So now I'm going from this people pass to an acknowledgement. Oh my goodness, something has gone down. So, and I think that's a key stage, is to acknowledge and give yourself permission to sit in it. So after that, I was able to sit in that thing, sit in that pain, sit in that hurt, sit in that betrayal, so that I could navigate the emotions of it. So now that I've navigated the emotions of it and I'm in it, I'm in a place where now I can start moving toward strategies. Okay, so strategies are things that we have in place. You can call them coping mechanisms. You can call them ways of overcoming. You can call them second gear motions. You can call those new beginnings. Whatever it is that you have in place to get you from A to B, by all means, let's get there. So with this strategies part, what I ended up doing was I begin to meditate on who I am. So, and when I say who I am, I had to keep the main thing, which is what God put in my heart to accomplish, like the vision and the passion that was in me. It had to rise above someone's attack. So I said, wait a minute. Who are you? And it reminds me of when I was a little girl. My mother told me I used to say, whom I think my is. The saying, who do you think you are? When someone does something to you, like, who do you think you are? That never was my approach. I always said, whom I think my is. So to me, that was part of my core defining from a little girl to even an adult. So when things happen to me, I don't look at the person trying to figure out who they think they are. I look internally and I say, Michelle, who are you? Come on. Sometimes you got to come through with the identity and speak forth who you are and begin to walk in that. So at that very point, I had to reevaluate who I was and step into that truth. So when I stepped into that truth, I'm trying to tell y'all, everything shifted. I mean, everything, like the whole mood, the whole offense, the whole betrayal, the whole situation conformed and bowed to who I am. You know what I mean? The woman that I am, the treasure that I am. So once I tapped into all those who I ams, I mean, I was gone. Like I was full out in a place of confidence and strength again, because I stepped into my truth and I didn't allow someone's insecurities, someone else's lack of wisdom to stop or stunt the impact that I was called to make. So that was my strategy in that particular situation. And some people call those affirmations and things of that nature. And now we get to the last part. I think, no, this may be not the last part, the second to the last part. And that comes the lessons. So the lesson that I learned in this particular situation was that, though people will be people, which is a thing, it's okay to stop and deal with the matters of the heart that take place after you give someone the grace to grow. Because people do things because they are in that particular area, they're immature. They're not immature overall, because in all of us, we're all in areas mature, but there are certain things. It could be to lack of experience. It could be to lack of even knowing, just the ignorance of a thing, and we're not aware of the impact that we make. And from that place, we need grace, right? So after I realized that it was my responsibility to give that person grace to grow, it took me to another level of understanding people, and understanding that people will betray me, people will disappoint me. But in the midst of that, how do I reconcile those emotions where it doesn't govern who I am and it doesn't change the very fabric of who I am and how valuable I am, not only to that person, to people in general, and how valuable I am to God, and how committed I am to accomplish His will, purpose, and plan for my life. So from that place, I'm able to go past the initial hurt, disappointment, betrayal, and step into, in this particular case, my truth, which is who I am. And that was my lesson, that I didn't have to give the people pass without being able to protect, guard, and restore the hurt that was in my heart. And it was okay to stop being a leader at that moment. It was okay to stop being a manager at that moment. It was okay to stop being the strong person and sit in vulnerability. And one thing that comes to mind just from my foundation in the word is that in our weakness, His strength is made perfect. So I was able to allow Him to be perfected in that. And from there, I was restored and renewed. Now, the last part, refueling. Okay. Because I think it reminds me of, how when you're full, and then you begin in some areas to start getting depleted and going down a little bit, it's our responsibility to be refueled, whatever that means to us. So a refueling it's almost like you can put in a regimen of restoration. It's something that puts you more on guard and more into a situation. So for me, my refueling in that situation was to love the person. This is my experience. I'm not saying everyone has that opportunity, because sometimes it's dangerous situations. It's things that are beyond you, that you can't necessarily be around that person, whatever the case may be. But in this case, I was able to love them in spite of them, love them to wholeness. And that's what I call it too, when you can love someone to wholeness because they're on their journey. And also, in this particular case, have conversations around that with those parties that were involved, and just to bring a little clarity and even to the acknowledgement of it happening. And that was part of my refueling, because it's like it's on the table. I don't have to hide it. It is what it is. And then the next place of refueling is my decision to sit in my value, my decision to know what my assignment is, my purpose is, my plan is, and get excited about that and get rejuvenated about that. So that was part of my refueling, and taking time and sometimes even pampering myself. And sometimes pampering myself is going for a walk by the water, a drive by the water, refreshing things that brings a sense of calm and affirmation to my soul. And so part of my refueling were parts of those things, just getting in a habit of focusing and zooming in on me, because in doing that, I was able to have that balance and maintain life beyond betrayal. So I hope all of these steps and processes that I discuss are, a joy to you and refreshing. I'm super excited to share. And these are the matters of the heart with Michelle LeAnn. Take care.